Last week, we looked at this, and it was a lot of fun, showing you how to do all this painting and patina work on the stock tank. But what about the inside? I want to show the inside of the stock tank too. That is what today's video is going to be, is how to add, I got to grab this thing, a false bottom and paint it so it looks like the inside of a tank, a galvanized tank. I think if you get a little further away, it looks a little better. But anyway, that's what we're going to work on today. I've got adhesive on the back, and I figured, I'll just set it down here real quick. It's not that bad. Well, it really stuck. And when I lifted it up, though it looks like it maybe pulled up paint, no, it just dropped all this gooey gunk, adhesive. So I'm going to need to go back and clean it up with denatured alcohol, but it eventually works just fine. But yeah, don't think you can place this stuff down and then pick it back up. I have to admit something here. I did mess something up here, and I didn't see it really until later on, and that is these sides. See here? These are straight up and down. And stock tanks, for watering cattle or horses, they're straight up and down. Well, I used an example of a tank that we have out in the back of our yard during the hot months. We put this out for animals and stuff like that. Well, it's got those taper sides, and that's what I did on the stock tank. So yeah, I'm very sorry about that. You should not have it so tapered like I have. The sides should be much more straight up and down. Okay, first color we're using is Tamiya XF53 Neutral Gray, and that goes on pretty good. And that's why I like to use this with the airbrush. If I tried acrylic right now, I'd be gumming up and all kinds of stuff. So Tamiya in the airbrush. I'm also not trying to get it this monocolor paint job. I'm trying to let the black come through. Those are shadows, that's detail. I'm trying to follow the wires on a semicircular motion as I'm painting the gray inside the top. Now we're going to go to white, And the white really starts at the rim on the outside, and we're trying to bleed that so it gets continuously darker, toward the center. That gives the impression of, dark is farther away and light is closer to you. And so I'm just going to follow that. Then I'm going to come back to the bottom here, and I'm trying to get, they kind of form the bottom of a pail or a bucket or, something galvanized. And so that's what I'm trying to get in the bottom here. So this is like the example that I've been following. And one of the things I'm trying to recreate is this. The side kind of makes it work. The bottom down here at the bottom needs to be a little bit darker than the rim. You see the rim is really bright. So what I'm doing in this painting is really just trying to recreate that. So you see the rim, I have really light in color, and then down there at the bottom, I've got the darker color. So for that shadow, I'm coming back to the neutral gray, right at that base. Remember, right at that bottom of what is going to be the side. I'm having that darker and trying to graduate it up toward the rim where it's lighter. Now we're going to shift up a little bit and do a little bit of flecking or paint splattering. So I've got a toothpick down there. You can barely see it and my hand gets in the way here, but what I'm doing is I'm flecking white and a light gray onto the bottom here. And that is supposed to represent, the galvanizing. It looks a lot better once I do one more little thin coat of blue, and then I think we're ready for some detail painting. So now you can see where that blue kind of, faded up from the bottom, and that's like a lot of shadow, and that's supposed to help represent the water. Now I'm coming in with a medium olive, a green yellow, and even the German camouflage black brown. And I'm making little, it's supposed to be just little biology growing in there, a little algae and stuff like that, right around the seams. And I really specifically want to be around the seams because that's where that stuff is going to gather first. Now with all the primary painting done, I'm able to go in and remove my wire masks, and I think it looks pretty good. I did decide to go back because I didn't have that hard seam, where the bottom and the sides meet. So I'm using a little black here, and I'm just going to make just the smallest line that I possibly can just to better define the bottom seam. And then I'm going to take it up the side. I'm not going to touch the other ones. They're supposed to be kind of like folds and stuff. This is actual seams. And then the last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my my brush and do a little bit of, it's not really dry brushing. I'm kind of shading. It's like a dry brush effect, but I'm using it actually to shade just the bottom. And with that done, I think we are finished.